In for a penny, in for a pound, I guess is the way the saying goes, although that might be wrong. But anyways, here we are with another reaction to yet another Ghost of Yotei trailer because I decided on a whim that I was going to do a reaction to this months ago, and again, now I'm in. So hopefully we'll have some interesting things to see here. Apparently this one is going to be a deep dive into the gameplay. So we'll see if how much there is that I can pick up on, use what little expertise I have in understanding ancient Japanese literature and some ancient Japanese culture. This game doesn't take place in the time period that I'm most concerned with. I'm most concerned with the Heian period, and this is more like early Edo period. And it's also up in a part of Japan that technically wasn't even part of Japan at the time. But anyways, hopefully I'll be able to point out some interesting bits for you. I'll be able to give you my thoughts on the gameplay from looking at it, although it's hard to tell by just looking at things usually. And this is completely blind, so without any more hoo-ha, let's just get into it, okay? So, here we go. Let's react to this Ghost of Yotei trailer. No promises that I'll be able to provide that much information. Don't get your hopes up.
Hello everyone, this is Jason Connell and Nate Fox from Sucker Punch Productions. Ghost of Tsushima was an honor to be a part of. And today, Nate and I get to share more about our next game, Ghost of Yotei.
Again, I can always point out the connection with the little steel guitar that they got going back there. In the first video that I did, there was a connection between cowboy and samurai, and the more I look into Japanese history, the stronger that connection gets.
Some new special modes of play. But let's start things off first by
Again,
talking
beautiful.
about a Japanese folk legend.
Okay.
The Onryo.
Oh. Okay. Okay. This is probably exceedingly pedantic. I apologize, but I have to. I know these guys do their homework, right? They do their homework, but is this? I hope this isn't one of the developers who said Onryo, Onryo, okay? I mean, my Japanese pronunciation isn't perfect, but just... And I mean, this is actually going to be very pertinent because I'm currently doing videos where normally what I do is I actually translate classic old school folk tales from 1,000 years ago and I turn them into English and I put them on here. And I'm currently in the section dealing with spirits and demons and Oni, right? So Onryo is kind of right where I am. So this will be interesting to see what he has to say, and I might actually have some things that I can point out. But, oh, Onryo. Oh, I'm sorry, bro. At least try. At least try, please. It's probably going to be a great game.
The people of Ezo believe Atsu is an Onryo, a wrathful ghost bent on revenge.
Okay.
And they're half right. Atsu doesn't care if she lives or dies, so long as she can punish the Yotei Six,
Bro.
a ruthless gang who slaughtered her family.
Okay. Okay, so that explains some...
After 16 years in the south, she's returned home to put their spirits to rest.
Okay, so 16 years in the south. So she was running around regular Japan for 16 years, apparently. Learning the blade, I guess, probably. Although 16 years in the south at this point was during the Warring States period.
That propel her forward. When Atsu returns to her childhood home, with the push of a button, you can experience those cherished times.
Oh, so they're going to have like an instant time travel mechanic. That's interesting. I wonder if...
By giving you the freedom to explore Atsu's past, the wound of her loss becomes personal.
I wonder how that's going to implement in like actual gameplay.
That pushes her forward. Hunting down the Yotei Six is a near impossible task. She'll face 1,000 blades. But the Onryo is relentless, and with each victory, the ghost story around her.
Okay, but can we see some some gameplay? I would like to see some gameplay here. And again, we've been over. That's her list. I think there may be one or two kanji on there that I'm actually not super familiar with. The Edge of Japan, again, this is something that's probably beyond my expertise.
Ghost of Yotei focuses on player freedom more than any game Sucker Punch has ever made.
Not that I'm an credentialed expert,
but at its heart, it's inspired by so many of our favorite wandering samurai films. So let's start off by talking about exploration at the edge of Japan.
Technically, it's not the edge of Japan. Technically, it's beyond the edge of Japan.
So we set out
That's
to make an open
pedantic.
world game that lets you drive your own experiences.
It looks
Whether
amazing,
that's your
but
curiosity to
of
wonder,
course.
your thirst for combat, or a deep desire to stay focused on the story. As you explore, there's an underlying clue system that invites you to new adventures in new areas of the game that could be appealing to you. If you interrogate an enemy, choosing to ask about the Oni, you could uncover a landscape scarred by fire with more bold, samurai-like enemies to fight and abilities for Atsu to learn. Or if you ask about the Kitsune, it might lead you to an area filled with snow and deception, enemies that ambush you, and new ninja-like tactics to study.
Okay, that's interesting, because if you noticed in Ghost of Tsushima, there wasn't anything about like ninja or well, I mean, I guess the ghost was supposed to be that, right? But this is post-Edo period, right? And the Edo period, or not the Edo period, this is post-Warring States period, and Warring States period is really when shinobi, when ninja really became a thing. So it's very interesting. It's kind of nice that if they're gonna have them, right? Because let's be honest, ninja, whether or not they're historically accurate, I mean, we can debate how historically accurate the ninja was, right? But if they're going to have them, if they're going to put them in a game, they do need to put it in a game. This is a perfect time to put them in here, right after the Warring States period, right after they were really a thing. And maybe they're still wandering around, you know, getting hired on by these people who live beyond Japan. You know, maybe after losing in the battles, or all of a sudden their skills are no longer needed, they go wandering around elsewhere to find employment. They come across the people in this game, and that's why you run into them. Okay, that can make a lot of sense.
Interesting. Draws cards for each clue to keep track of all available adventures. The more you play, the more the game unfolds for you.
Oh, so it's just standard open world.
Her legend as the Onryo grows.
It's her.
Bounty will go up, drawing the attention of deadlier foes.
Oh, is there a bounty system? There's a notoriety. Well, I guess the first one kind of had that too, though, right?
Are you lost?
I'm looking for some old friends. The Yotei 6.
Show her the door.
There is a hefty price on Atsu's head.
Again, for those of you who haven't been here, I did actually read this. You know, actually, I struggled to read it the first time. But this basically is just like a bounty. This is hand. I actually don't remember what this one is, but this means writing, right? Writing. And then we have. Hold on. Let's see. 1, 2, 10, 8. Okay, so the first thing it's just saying this thing is she is 2, 10, 8. She is 28 or 29 and then this is Yowai, right? This is her age. So it's saying she's 28. Then Yotei san ni oite he. Oh well, I guess I can't read. It's actually not that clear. It's so small. Kono onna no kubi ni hobi 100 ryo. Okay, so it says for the head of this woman, we will pay 100 gold coins. So there's a hefty price on her head, basically, is what it's saying. I can't actually read the uasa. Okay. Nioite, Yotei-san nioite, he something no uasa. So the rumors are she's around Mount Yotei, okay? Anyway.
Now, Atsu can also hunt down her own bounties that bring her all around the land. This is a lucrative way to make some money to fuel her vengeance quest.
Tehai show, that's what that means. Tehai, that's what that means. Okay. Okay, so it looks very similar to the first one, which, again, not surprised there. Although it looks like there's some mini targets that you can go around and kill. Okay.
You're not off plan, Eguchi. You're here for my bounty.
And I do want to point out in that previous scene, you know, she walks into a bar like a cowboy. Use slides to quickly descend. Okay. I mean, that's standard video game. I did a lot of that in Apex. I'm very interested in this
Hidden
time
the world
mechanic,
are
though.
Altars of reflection. Finding one inspires Atsu and unlocks a new ability to help her on the journey ahead.
Okay, here's like actual, maybe.
They are fun to find on their own, but for a quicker route, you can always buy a traveler's map from the cartographer. Ghost of Yotei isn't going to rush you through anything. You can choose what motivates you most. But we think the best way
it's
to
so
play is to
freaking
simply
beautiful.
pull out your spyglass, find something interesting on the horizon.
Did they didn't have a spyglass in the first one. I don't remember that being a first one, but I mean, you know, considering that this is the early 1600s, it would make sense that not only would they now exist, but the Japanese would also have access to some of them. Flower streams will also give Atsu a boost. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Just a little, like, actual physical rewarding mechanic to get you to run through pretty scenery. That's nice. I approve.
The lands around Yotei are vast.
That's so
It's not about
flippin'
checking it all
gorgeous.
off. It's about engaging in the content that gets you excited.
Oh, that's something we're familiar with.
Embrace that curiosity and let them guide you on your hunt.
Dang it, where did the quality drop? It's because my internet is crap, that's why. Let me see if I can
Ezo
fix that. Well,
is a dangerous place. Atsu.
yeah, hold on,
always
guys. I want to see if I
wields
can
a
fix that. Okay,
weapon. As
hopefully
for
that
which,
works a little bit
that's
better.
up to you. Will you choose a katana, spear,
Oh!
surigama, odachi, or dual swords?
Yeah,
Each is uniquely effective against a particular enemy and has their own set of upgrades to discover and master.
okay, we'll pause and discuss it while it decides if it wants to, like, actually load for me. That's really interesting that they're going to have multiple weapons. I hope that actually does a lot more to, like, change the way you actually fight. Because, again, I had a lot of fun with the first one. Don't get me wrong, it is a really good game. However, they had all of the different stances, but all it really did was it just meant that you had to pick the right stance to kill the same enemy, to fight a certain type of enemy, do the exact same thing. You know, parry, like block, parry, dodge, attack, right? The combat was actually surprisingly, like, I enjoyed the first one a lot, don't get me wrong. However, I also grew up playing Devil May Cry and Ninja Gaiden, right? So when I want combat, that's what I'm thinking is, like, really good combat, really complex, really, like, versatile, a bunch of different moves, a bunch of different stuff. And so, like, I did find the combat of the first Ghost of Tsushima engaging enough. It's functional, and this looks to be largely the same. It looks like it's going to be functional and do the job. But I'm hoping that at the very least, having these different weapons, like, changes maybe how fast you can move, changes, like, if you're good at fighting, at having big sweeping attacks to fight off multiple people, or, like, having really close fast attacks or really close powerful attacks to fight, like, one guy just to, like, take him out really fast. I'm hoping that it actually really changes the way that you actually approach combat depending on the weapon that you have. That would be the best. Anyways, moving on.
Plant Saito banners.
Let's see how.
Okay, Huranui Mill. Okay, Huranui, that does not sound like a Japanese word. Okay, and the reason why that's important is because this is Ezo, right? This is where the Ainu are from. My guess is that's actually originally an Ainu word, because there are a lot of places in the far north that actually still have Ainu place names, right? They're not actually Japanese. Anyway, or Nupur River. Nupur, that is definitely not a Japanese name. So Huranui, I'm guessing, is an Ainu word. And as we know, this does take place in Ezo, and there's in the previous trailer, we did meet an Ainu woman, so I'm guessing there's some stuff with that. And there's a mark of a bear.
He uses these weapons in the field, searching for leads on Lord Saito.
This is our food. From our
Standard
soil.
action adventure
Our soldiers
stealth
needed
type
more
stuff.
to free you.
Free us. Inokichi steals our crops. while our family starve.
Okay.
Atsu's
Okay.
no samurai
That was
or
cool.
ninja. No. She's a lone wolf mercenary who'll use every advantage, every dirty trick to win a fight.
You know, it's funny because that's basically what Miyamoto Musashi says. He's like, learn all the weapons. Don't get overly comfortable with one. You use what you have to win. And Miyamoto Musashi lived around this time. What do you know?
Combat has the feel of a classic samurai movie. Every motion counts. It's about lethal precision.
Change weapons on the fly. Okay. But again, what practical differences does this make is the big question.
If an enemy swings hard, Atsu can lose her
Ooh.
weapon. But if she's quick, she can disarm them.
Ooh, okay. Okay. That's interesting. Because that could have a lot of implications, like the combat can...
Choose
Ooh.
the right weapon for the job. To fight a massive enemy, her huge Odachi blade is best.
Okay, but here's the thing. That's cool. That's cool, and I like the idea that you can lose your weapons / you can steal weapons from other characters, right? That's a cool idea because that means that the combat can develop and evolve organically, which is great. However, what I don't want it to be is like if you don't use X weapon, you cannot beat Y enemy, right? Like if it's like this weapon is how you beat that guy and you basically can't do it any other way. I'm not sure I like that. Like please make certain weapons more effective against particular enemies, but don't make it just like this one weapon is what you need to defeat this one guy. Okay?
He looks like the one in charge.
Tonight, we feast!
I always find it funny in some of these games, like, how does nobody see that? I mean, it's because it's a game, but, you know.
Blades are great, but ranged weapons work too. And Atsu's got an arsenal.
There we go. And she's got a gun. Classic. I mean, like, yes, they had guns at that time. And there are some people who have this, have that notion that samurai were they didn't find guns honorable. Oh no, they did
Weapons
not
like
care.
kunai, bombs, or even blinding powder can give Atsu an edge. When enemies switch weapons, you'll have to adapt. Dual swords are best against spears.
Okay, that's an interesting idea though. Like, they switch weapons, you switch weapons. Again, I like that because it means the combat is going to evolve.
No more!
Inokichi,
what you
Ino
know
means
about
like
Saito.
boar, and he's got a boar mask.
Atsu doesn't always fight alone. She'll meet several allies on her hunt.
Gotta have an animal
including a
companion.
mysterious wolf.
Oof. I mean, I like wolves.
Atsu can set up camp under the stars of Ezo.
Camping
But she's
mechanic.
not always alone.
Hey, friend. Share your fire with the traveling peddler?
What are you selling?
A mask said to be cursed with the unpredictable nature of its previous owner.
Camping under the stars is a great way to rest up, play your shamisen, or cook to ready for a fight ahead.
Interesting.
It's also designed to help bring important characters and upgrades straight to you. In fact, in place of the journal menu from Ghost of Tsushima, we've opted for a more character-driven way of managing allies and vendors you meet in Ezo. Over time,
Interesting.
Atsu grows to have her own wolf pack. And here, you can keep track of when a sensei might have a weapon skill for you, or when a vendor has something unique to sell. Managing
Interesting.
upgrades, resources, when to buy what, can be a burden in a big open-world game.
And this comes on the heels of I just got done playing Clair Obscur, which I think is one of the greatest games of, like, not just even recently, not even just like the last 10 years, like I think Clair Obscur is one of the greatest games I've ever played, which actually is, even though it's exceedingly French and very proud of being French, there's still, it was developed by people who grew up playing Final Fantasy and some of these Japanese games, and you can still see that influence in there to some small degrees. But it's very interesting that I guess camp mechanics are becoming a really cool thing. Don't get me wrong, I'm down for it. I mean, this is beautiful. This is gorgeous. Like that moon and the campfire, although I do believe... again, I'm not an expert in horses, but I do believe horses can actually sleep standing. A lot of times they don't actually lay down and go to sleep like that. But I mean, they did in the first one. So, but it's a video game. We're not gonna. I'm not gonna be too stickler on some of these things.
At campsites, members of your wolf pack can catch up with you, offering upgrades and unique items. This helps ensure you have every opportunity to upgrade and prepare for Atsu's vengeance quest ahead. You don't have to leave where you're exploring. The game comes to you.
I do think that needs to be balanced, though. The game comes to you, which is cool because it might be new and it might be a little more convenient in certain instances. However, the thing that we don't want is we don't want the game to come to you so much that it stops being a game, Like, and not saying that is what's going to happen, but I'm just kind of voicing out loud potential things that might not go so well. I'm hoping that it turns out really good. That is my hope, is that it's everything I see, even if I'm complaining, even if I'm kind of nitpicking here, I'm hoping that it turns out really good, because I can see a lot of these instances where some of these things might be implemented very well, but they also might be implemented not so great. We shall see.
While exploring Ezo, you'll discover all sorts of new armor, charms, and gear. Perfect for building up Atsu around your chosen playstyle. Are you stealth, ranged, or melee focused?
Okay, those are some cool looking armor, I'm not gonna lie.
Pieces that are just right for you.
Futsunushi.
And of course,
Futsu means
customize the look.
Futsu means like Futsu no Mitama no Tsurugi, right? There's a big sword, right? That's supposedly enshrined at the Kashima Jingu shrine, I believe. Futsu no Mitama no Tsurugi, okay? Futsu is supposed to be like the sound of a sword cutting, right? It's just a futsu, right? Futu, I believe. Futu is originally how you say futu, futu, right? Is the sound of a sword or a blade chopping something, right? So futsu no, and what was that? Futsu something. Futsu no Mitama no Tsurugi. Mitama just means like honorific spirit, and then Tsurugi means sword, right? So, I'm not actually a huge RPG guy, right? Again, like I said, I grew up playing Devil May Cry, Ninja Gaiden. I'm a big fighting game fan. I typically like action games, like just pure action games, where they say, here are the tools. These are your tools. You don't get to customize it. You don't get to decide. This is the challenge that we put before you. Please overcome the challenge. I actually like that. I kind of struggle sometimes. Well, it's not that I struggle, but I sometimes get bored when a game throws a lot of freedom at me and says, go anywhere, do anything, play it your way. And it's like, but see, here's the thing. I kind of paid you guys money to like give me a good time, to make me an obstacle course, and afterwards I can decide whether or not I like the obstacle course. Not to say that, again, I had a lot of fun with the first game. I had a lot of fun with it. But I'm hoping that in their efforts to make the game more open, right? In their efforts to make the game play how you want to play it. It's like, do you carve out an individual identity for yourself in not just your visuals and stuff, but in your gameplay too? Or is it going to end up being basically the same kind of standard action adventure with RPG elements or what have you? But I'm hoping.
Look of your armor.
I'm being extremely critical because I just
sure that your version of Atsu looks and fights just the way you want.
I'm being overly critical in the beginning because if you set your expectations low, it could only go up from there. I mean, this is all beautiful though. Okay, this I'm actually going to be surprisingly interested in.
The score of Ghost of Yotei is incredibly special to us.
Shamisen. Basically like the 1600s Japanese guitar. Oh. Again, I apologize. My internet's not great. But again, let me take this time while it's buffering here to discuss a little bit of the music, right? So obviously there's the steel guitars in there, and the steel guitars are very Western, right? Very Western. And then they've got the shamisen, which is kind of like, I don't know when the shamisen became a thing, when it was really like popular. I know it was popular in the Edo period in particular, but I'm sure it came in at some point before that. But the fact that they're combining, they're very deliberately pointing to like this Western aesthetic, which again, like I said in the first video, there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of crossover between cowboys and samurai, right? Especially when you start looking into it in like the Heian period, right? Where the samurai, the warriors, right? At the time, they weren't actually called samurai. They were just they were warriors. They were the mono no fu, or the tsuamono, or the bushi, right? But they lived basically on what was frontier land, right? You had the emishi way far up in the north, and even though technically at the time, the Japanese imperial state, the Yamato Chote, whatever you want to call it, they technically controlled Mutsu and Dewa and all the way up there. But they didn't really. They nominally controlled it. They didn't really, though. And then, so there was a lot of the emishi. There was a lot of going back and forth between the emishi and the Yamato people, right? And so the people, especially who lived way out in the east, they lived their entire lives basically fighting with one hand and farming with the other, right? And so you got the people out in the east who were living on the frontier land. They were very, very skilled fighters. They were really good at riding horses, and they were really, really good at projectile firing from horseback. Kind of like a cowboy, right? They actually typically, well, they didn't get along with the government. I mean, some of them did and some of them didn't. They really, really prized self-reliance, the masculine traits of like being able to take care of yourself and the people around you. Again, they really prized fighting prowess. They were very, very masculine out there in the wilds, fighting the people beyond beyond the frontier, where the cowboys had the Native Americans, the ancient Japanese warriors had the emishi / potentially even the Ainu, depending on whether or not the Ainu and the emishi were the same thing. That's debatable. But anyway, it's no surprise that people are going to find connections between westerns, cowboys, and samurai. The more you look into it, again, they raised horses, they raised cattle, they were really good at riding horses, they were really good at shooting from horseback. That was the signal, those were the signal skills of the warriors back a long time ago, in the Heian period in particular, was riding a horse and shooting a bow from horseback. They were very, very concerned with self-reliance. It fits so many different ways. The ancient samurai especially were just Japanese cowboys.
Otoa has created a mashup of Eastern instrumentation with Western flavors, brought to life through an exciting collaboration of many talented artists.
That's a biwa. I like biwas more than I like daonbitomade. Again, I like biwas more than I like shamisens.
If you like what you heard, we're releasing 2 tracks featured in today's State of Play.
Right now we're listening to a shamisen
service immediately after the show.
Biwas, and again, here's some historical things about biwas. First of all, biwas have more of like an echoey. They have I don't know if I'm not a trained musician or anything, but biwas have this more echoey, haunting sound to them. They're basically like, shamisens kind of look like a guitar, but a biwa is more guitar-like, and it has a stronger, more echoey sound. And biwa were actually, there was the premier samurai epic, The Tale of the Heike. Supposedly, the way it was transmitted for most of its early history was monks, Buddhist monks would wander around the countryside, and they would play a biwa, and they would sing the epic of The Tale of the Heike. And so the biwa, actually, part of the reason why I like the biwa a little bit more too is because it's so strongly associated with that like warrior tradition, that like telling the tale, the epic tales of the great samurai, the first big samurai war. Although the greatest samurai was Taira no Masakado. Don't at me. Photo mode, because we gotta have photo mode.
The photography community for Ghost of Tsushima is incredible. We're happy to have photo mode back in Ghost of Yotei and look forward to seeing photos from your journey across Asia.
You know, sometimes I wish I was a little more creative, because I'm sure people with some of these tools could do some crazy stuff. Jeez Louise. Okay, maybe, hold on. I am going to decrease the quality here so we can get a move on, because this is really getting annoying. Alright, sorry about that. I'm having some technical difficulties. I rewinded a little bit, so hopefully we can just, again, get a move on.
Ghost of Tsushima is incredible.
If you can't tell, I'm not a professional
We're happy to have
YouTuber.
photo mode back in Ghost of Yotei and look forward to seeing photos from your journey across Asia.
Again, I wish I was a little more creative, because you could... The things that you could do, somebody who's actually creative could do so much with some of these things.
We want playing through Ghost of Yotei to feel like stepping inside of your favorite classic samurai films. So, from the beginning of the game, we're happy to offer a full Japanese voice track with full lip sync that you can play with subtitles.
Who are you? And he's not nice about it. That's what that means. Oh, well, I guess there's... Okay, so it says Little Wolf, right? But he says Okami no Hime. That means Princess of Wolves, right? Interesting. But I was able to meet you. Katana Kaji no Musume. Interesting. She should have said Waga Nawa. That would be cooler.
Samurai cinema experience one step further. We are honored to once again partner with acclaimed director Akira Kurosawa's estate for Kurosawa Mode, which emulates his classic black and white films.
Kurosawa films are great. One of them, Rashomon, is based off of a novel or a short story written by Akutagawa Ryunosuke, which in turn was based on a story from the Konjaku Monogatari Shu, which is the thing that I am currently translating, and that's where I get my... Jeez Louise, it's still... Okay, hopefully we don't have... Again, my internet is not great if you can't tell.
For Ghost of Yotei, we wanted to celebrate two other influential directors who have had an impact on the genre.
Oh, he's going to say a Western one. And Western is in, like, makes Westerns.
First, we've partnered with Takeshi Miike, director of 13 Assassins, for a mode that puts the camera closer during combat for a more intense, raw experience along with increased mud and blood splatter.
Okay, but here's the thing. Is that going to affect my gameplay?
We've partnered with the director of Samurai Champloo, Shinichiro Watanabe.
I love Samurai Champloo!
Original lo-fi tracks directed by Watanabe himself.
Oh my... Okay. It is such a crying shame that Nujabes is no longer with us. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Because here's the thing, right? Clearly this is a game that is combining Western and Eastern, you know, East and West. It is bringing them together. Samurai Champloo was that too. I love that. I mean, I've seen that entire series twice. The first time I enjoyed it, the second time I enjoyed it more. It's funny. It's very pretty. It's actually really, really deep. I love this Japanese-inspired... Well, okay, because first of all, you know, like Nujabes and Samurai Champloo, that soundtrack, but Nujabes, that is where lo-fi hip-hop came from. Samurai Champloo was a combination of, like, traditional Japan meets, you know, urban hip-hop type stuff. Okay, I'm geeking out. Wow. That actually, that's the coolest thing I've heard about this game so far. I don't know why, because I really like lo-fi hip-hop. I really like Samurai Champloo. Oh my gosh, man, are they going to make me have to go into like Nujabes stuff? Because there's a song that Nujabes stuff, the Shikino Uta, the Song of the Four Seasons, that actually, first of all, it's beautiful, but there's some deep traditional Japanese motifs and stuff in that song, and I absolutely love it. It's a shame that he's no longer with us. He's not here anymore. Oh, okay. But still, this is great. You know, is it the most fitting for the setting? Maybe not, but it's
There's
great.
so many ways to make your Ghost of Yotei playthrough your own. But no matter how you play, here's one way to experience Ghost of Yotei that is sure to be special.
Is it multiplayer? Look at this kintsugi that it's doing. Kintsugi is where you take broken things and you fit them together with glue infused with gold. Right? And I'm not going to go into all of the deeper philosophical influences. Oh, look at that. Okay, that is pretty. That is pretty. Okay, and I'm noticing gold is kind of like a consistent theme here with their coloring scheme.
Today, you've got a glimpse into Atsu's hunt for the Yotei 6. Forge your own path while discovering the secrets of Ezo. To survive, you'll need to master a variety of weapons, using lethal precision to overcome the odds and take revenge as the Onryo.
Onryo. Oh my gosh, my soul dies every time he pronounces that.
Thank you so much for watching.
October 2nd's not that far away. I would love to stream it, but in the situation that I'm in, my internet just it's not going to be able to support that. Unfortunately. Unfortunately. Okay. Is that it? Pre-order now. Okay, I think that's it. Dope. Unless there's anything. Nope, it's over. Cool. Oh, I kind of want to watch it in Japanese, but anyway. Okay, so there were some surprises there. The whole, what is that? The director for Samurai Champloo being a part of it. That is probably the single thing I'm most interested in. The fact that we're gonna have multiple weapons, depending on how they implement it, that could be really cool, or it could be rather boring and just like a silly thing that they tacked on that they're hoping would be visually cool, but not actually change anything like mechanically speaking, or at least in a significant way. I'm hoping that it does. It looks like that they are. Like obviously when you got that Kusarigama and you throw it at the guy and you pull him in, you do like a whole friggin' scorpion thing, like get over here, and then you finish him off. That's cool. That is cool. But so the more I see this, the more I'm interested in it, and yeah, really looking forward to it. So hopefully you learned a couple of things. If you have any questions for me, please let me know in the comments. If you did enjoy this reaction, although I mean it is just a reaction and I'm not the most entertaining of individuals, but go ahead, give the video a like. Please subscribe to the channel because I am trying to keep up with this game in particular, along with Okami. Those are the two big games. I am considering doing a reaction because I think they announced Nioh 3. I did play Nioh. I did finish Nioh 1. I did play a lot of Nioh 2, but I actually kind of got bored halfway or partway through and stopped because there were probably other things that were going on that I was more interested in playing. But this is definitely a game that I'm very interested in. I did clear the first one all the way through. I think I 100%ed it at least once. I think I may have even cleared it. Maybe not 100%. I think I cleared it twice. 100%ed it once. But I did enjoy the first one, so I am looking forward to this. And some of these cool additions are really, really fascinating. What I'm hoping, Sucker Punch, K, everybody does the Sengoku period and the Edo period. So it's great that you're taking this to Ezo, which is a little bit different. That's cool and all, right? And I'm really appreciative that the first game y'all did, it was set in the, the Mongol invasions, which is a time period that doesn't get a lot of love. But please, can somebody please do my boy Taira no Masakado the justice he deserves? Seriously, I can't even tell you. I'm so into the Taira no Masakado story. The more I look into it, the more I'm like, Taira no Masakado, seriously, the greatest warrior of Japanese history ever. In fact, I am planning this in not too awfully long. I'm going to go with a friend of mine, and we're going to go check out some of the places that were historically significant to Taira no Masakado, and I'm planning on making a video about that too, so you can come explore Japan with me a little bit. But anyway, please do Heian period, the Genpei War, or even, Taira no Masakado or Fujiwara no Sumitomo. I mean, you guys have so much that you can choose from, and that's not to take away from this game. This is great. Keep doing this. Looking forward to it. But oh my gosh, Japanese history is so expansive, and Japanese literature, and there's just so much. Oh my goodness. So, if you're interested in knowing a little bit more about some of those things. Again, the main thing that I do on this channel is I do translate old school, very, very 1,000-year-old Japanese folktales and put them in English, so you can go check those out. I have other reactions to other games. I am also doing a thing where I go through I go through video games in particular right now, potentially even anime in the future, and I find classical Japanese, the really, really old Japanese, and I explain it. I even have some videos going over some of the classical Japanese in the first Ghost of Tsushima. So please go feel free to check those out. And, oh my gosh, this video is probably already longer than I anticipated. So I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.